How to grow your followers fast with $0 advertising. One of the things I get asked about the most, how do I get more followers? I'm really excited about tonight's content. Some of these events are very specific. Like lately, I've been doing a lot about real estate and law and then financial services, industry specific. Tonight is relevant to anybody who's on LinkedIn. If you walk into a party and you've got half decent communication skills, when you talk, what do people do? They generally listen. It's how human connection works. And it's what you've been doing since you were a toddler, like stringing words together. I've got a daughter who's 3. She's speaking more than ever, but you get better. You learn new words. You get more articulate. You get stories. You get rhythm. You get confidence. And you learn how to hold space, how to hold attention. Those are skills, right? But you don't think anything of it when you walk into a party and start a conversation with somebody. And then, you jump on LinkedIn and you share something and nothing. It hits the big void. We all know the void because we all started out there. We can't remember the ones about us just speaking normally in person, but we can remember the one on LinkedIn, right? Crickets. And you blame the algorithm. Oh, LinkedIn doesn't work. It's full of salespeople. It was the wrong time. It's not, effective anymore. LinkedIn sucks. It's not LinkedIn, it's you. Well, it's your skills, I should say. And the good news is you can fix it. They're learnable, right? You can learn these skills. Speaking of blame moving fast, did you guys see the news this week? Qantas has been slapped with a $90 million fine. Yeah, it's like 90 million for legally sacking, 2,000 ground staff during the COVID chaos. And that brings total payouts to about 200 million. So look, if even big airlines are getting called out for their sloppy mistakes, what excuse do you have for messy LinkedIn mistakes? Clean up your act, guys. Pay attention. We've got a few comments coming in here. Let's see who we've got. Hazel, welcome. Good to see you here again. Good to see my regulars here. I can see and hear. Okay, beautiful. You never know. Hey, Terry, how are you? Welcome. Thanks for being here. Jacqueline Steele, welcome. Good to see you here too. We've got Kansas. Yeah, let me know where you're tuning in from, where in the world. Hey, it's Anita. How you doing? We've got a global audience here at Monday Night Live. And if you are new here, my name is Nathaniel Bibby. I'm a founder of a company called Bibby Media Group. We generated over $650 million now in social selling revenue. So real results, not theory. But like most of the LinkedIn coaches, there's lots of them out there now. They're feeding you information on LinkedIn and they're coaches, right? They're not running thousands of campaigns across 100+ industries. Not that I'm running all those at once, but I have run thousands of campaigns. And quite frankly, they don't know what's working, right? They would have, if they're a coach, they've learned what's working on Google by watching YouTube videos or attending trainings like the ones that I deliver. But there's one thing that I know is a lot has happened since they watched their last YouTube video or did their last training course. Something they haven't accounted for is time. Time has passed. And if you are running campaigns all the time, you know what's working today. And today, things are moving faster than ever. It's very important that you understand this because if you did my training a year ago, 40% of what you're doing is wrong. Or it's not wrong, but it's just not as effective anymore. You're not cutting edge. And that's a fact. So this is how I can guarantee that we'll trump anyone in our industry when it comes to results. Like if we take on a client for LinkedIn results, I say, we'll smash your current results, guarantee it, because we've got our finger on the pulse. So anyway, so today, what we're going to be talking about is what is actually working right now today, how the LinkedIn algorithm is working today. Okay. And it's not personal, it's not romantic, and it's not what I was saying 4 or 5 months ago. And we're going to talk about the psychology of shareable posts, right? So the psychology behind it. Like it amazes me that no one looks at the brain science of social media. There's research out there. You can explain pretty closely to a T whether a post will go viral or not, just based on like before you even post it, right? Because it's the psychology of what people will share. The 3 formats for getting insane organic reach, the 3 content formats specifically for LinkedIn, like what type of content should you be posting? And in the end, I'm going to give you a bonus, which is my system for getting 10 million views. I mean, I get 10 million views a year with $0 in ad spend. And there's something that I do, which most people aren't aware of, which I'm going to share with you at the end. So stick around for that. Keep the comments coming in, guys. The more active you are in the chat, the more you'll learn. Close your other browsers and so on. Like 40 minutes, I mean, if you pay attention to what we're going to go through today, will transform your results on LinkedIn, I guarantee it. This is the most up-to-date content that you're hearing first here. I know this content that I deliver on Monday Night Live, you're never going to hear it anywhere else first. This is where it comes first. This is where it matures. It comes to Monday Night Live first. So you're hearing like the most recent information. Let's talk about the algorithm. The LinkedIn algorithm. So the myth is that LinkedIn's algorithm is working against you and it's getting harder. Like, what do you think of the LinkedIn algorithm? Overall, the statistics of people on average are getting less reach, right? And so everyone's worried. I mean, the guys that I know that are good, and myself included, we're not getting less reach, we're getting more reach, right? So there's a lot of other things that you need to take into account. It's actually easier if you know what you're doing to get more reach now because there's so much attention on the platform. So, and you've got to understand the algorithm. The reason that you think LinkedIn is against you, if you do, is because the algorithm actually doesn't know that you exist. You've got to train it. You know, it wants people scrolling. What does LinkedIn want? Same thing as TikTok and Instagram. They want to keep people on their platform longer. They've got all these different numbers that they look at when they're like analyzing their performance for the quarter. Guess what? The only number they really care about is user session time. How long is the average user spending on the platform? That directly translates to revenue and the success of the platform. So they're always looking at that. And like it's doubling or tripling most years on LinkedIn. So they're doing a fantastic job because it's keeping people in the feed longer. You know, in the last couple of years, people have become so active in the conversation, in the comments, like way more thoughtful comments on LinkedIn than there are on YouTube or TikTok. You may have noticed this, right? And so people are staying way longer in the comments. And that brings up a two-letter phrase. You can't say two-letter word. Okay? A two-word phrase. Dwell time. Dwell time. Okay. If your content stops people, they stay, and then the algorithm notices that people are actually consuming your content. So if they land on your post, hit like and leave, LinkedIn's like, yeah, cool, they hit like, but they didn't actually read the post. They didn't stay and be part of the conversation, okay? And that's what LinkedIn cares about, dwell time. So yeah, if you're not familiar with dwell time, like they're monitoring how long you actually stay on a post, right? And keep the window open and all that stuff. So like if you're reading the article and you read every single word and then you stop to think about a comment, write a comment, and then you get a reply and then you respond to that comment and you see somebody else's comment and then you comment on that comment, but you could be there. If somebody is really driven engagement in that post, there's no reason why you actually couldn't be in that conversation for about 20 minutes compared to somebody who's written a post where there's no call to comment. There's no reason to drop a comment. Like you want to be part of the conversation, but they haven't even invited you to. Or maybe you did comment one time and then you didn't get a reply from the person who posted. So you're like, I'm not going to comment again. You need to train your audience that you're going to reply, that they can rely on you. LinkedIn looks at that kind of thing. I'm going to use an analogy here. Oh, we got Gerald in the house. Bibi's on fire this evening. Thanks for the feedback. Now my confidence is going to go up. Nice to see you here. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. So I'm going to give you an analogy. I just thought of this like 20 minutes before I jumped on, right? So I've got two mates. They're both single. And when we go out, like, you know, they'll be looking around to talk to girls and stuff. And one of them, Tom, he's like smooth. He's confident. He's always lining up dates. And then I've got my other mate, Tim, but he's shy, doesn't usually approach girls. But on this one occasion, he did, right? So what happened is Tom walks straight up to this girl, introduces himself, and within 30 seconds, he's got her number, right? Standard. Comes back, smiling, looking all confident. And then about 20 minutes later, my other mate goes over and he doesn't ask for their number, the girl's number. He starts chatting to her, eventually buys her a drink. Anyway, he spends about an hour talking to her, comes back to us, and we asked him, oh, did you get her number? No, I didn't get her number, right? So who do you think got the date? You know, the one with the phone number? No. As the girl's about to leave, she walks straight past Tom and says, I should grab your number. And didn't even think about the first bloke who got her number because she actually spent time with him. What do you think of my analogy? That's dwell time, guys. That's dwell time. LinkedIn are interested in what you care about, not just what, you know, you'd like and comment on, not just who you follow. Doesn't matter who you follow. It matters what you consume. You notice like when you open up like Facebook and Instagram, like all of the ads can be about, like it could literally be about what you've been speaking about and not necessarily even searching on your phone. Like they definitely track what you're searching on your phone, but they have the ability when you sign up to these apps to listen to your microphone as well. So that's why if you're having a conversation with somebody and you're like, oh, you know, I should really get a new car, you might start seeing car ads on your feed, even though you haven't shared about it. Like that happens on Facebook. Facebook advertising is like really advanced and they put all these things in there where they can access different parts of your data. And that data, by the way, is going to get integrated in all types of marketing. I saw some technology 2 weeks ago where like at the airport and places like that, you have ads, digital signage. They're actually going to use facial recognition to analyze who you are as you're walking down the corridor and change the ads to show you something that you're actually interested in right now. That's where advertising is going. All advertising is going to be like that. And it will be no different on LinkedIn, right? So it's an interest economy. You know, the days where you can you've only got 3 channels on TV to choose between, and you're just going to get ads thrown in front of you, and advertisers can interrupt you. And if they do it enough times, they will get familiar enough for you to buy from them. Those days are long gone. You can't do that anymore. Why? Because people's attention, like the consumer's in control. Where do they want to spend attention? If you're not posting organic content, especially on this business platform, then you are going to be miles behind, because you're never going to be able to compete with people who actually know what their audience is interested in. The key to social media, the key to marketing in general, is knowing what your audience is interested in. So by posting organic content and then boosting that organic content, because you know what works, with some budget behind it, or doing keynotes, or having some sort of webinar or whatever. But you're delivering a sales presentation only to people that are already see value in what you do. That's the way the world's working these days, especially in professional services. Good to see you all here, guys. I'm surprised I didn't get more comments about my dating analogy. You all followed that one. I got a statistic from Neil Patel. 60% of social media posts get 0 engagement. 60%. 60%, right? 0. You don't want to be in that club. Most people are getting no engagement. So stop blaming the algorithm. Start understanding how to play it. It's a skill. And it's not like it's a huge, difficult skill. And it's nothing to do with being naturally good at it. Trust me. It's about just learning how to play it. Like, success leaves clues. There are plenty of guys that know how to do it that can show you and teach you how to do it as well. Most of the time, like, people don't want to give you negative feedback. You've got to be open to it. I'm very direct to my clients. Like, before I sign up a client, I'll always say to them, the way I work is I'm very direct. Is that okay with you? Because I need you to know that before we start, because I don't want to waste time trying not to hurt your feelings. I will tell you if something's rubbish, and I'll also tell you how to fix it. And you don't always have to take my advice either. Like, I've got a lot of experience in marketing. I'm not always right. I know that. But, you're hiring me for that experience, and that's what I think at the time. And so I always deliver that. And look, if I don't know, I will say I don't know. But that's coming from, all the experience I've had. The second part of this Monday Night Live is content formats. There are 3 content formats on LinkedIn right now. If you nail them, if you nail even one of these 3 formats, you will skyrocket. Your views and your followers will go through the roof. These are the 3, like, if I look at my follower graph, because this is about followers, right? Like, it's just like, boom, whenever I nail one of these pieces of content, the 3 types I'm about to share with you. 1, short form video, 30 to 90 seconds. Why 30 to 90 seconds? Well, after about 10 seconds, right, on average, 50% of the people that started watching at the first second have gone, on average. Now, that sounds very pessimistic, right? But that's the average. You've got to remember, most people aren't even getting engagement. So most videos are rubbish. So it doesn't take too much to stand ahead of the pack. But if you haven't got experience, sometimes what you'll do is you'll press record and you're not even in the frame for the first 3 seconds. And you get there and you're like, it's my first video. So I thought I'd, get on here, and it's Friday afternoon, and I just thought I'd get on the camera. But that's 10 seconds, right? You have lost people. You are definitely in the 50% club if you do that, right? So you have to grab attention right at the start. And then what do you do with that attention once you've got it? Build trust. Build trust. Because you don't just want followers, you want sales, right? And you do that by building trust. So when people see your face and hear your voice, and it doesn't necessarily matter if you're like a really good speaker. You notice there's a lot of things that I do incorrectly when I'm speaking on stage or on camera. I've been doing it for years. I've had 5 or 6 different public speaking coaches, and one of them fired me because I wasn't paying attention to what he was telling me to do. Like, everyone's got their own style, but I've always shown up. Always. By the way, I've always had a bigger audience than every speaking coach I've had. Even the guys that are really good and train some of the best in the world don't have a bigger audience, right? Because they're doing everything by the book. You've actually got to show up as yourself and be more authentic. And I'm just going to go into that a bit more detail soon. But it's not about being perfect, is what I'm trying to get at, right? On LinkedIn, not many people are doing video because it's a professional site. So it's bad enough on Instagram. People don't want to post videos because why? They're worried about what Jack and Jill down the road think. They're worried about what their relatives think. They're worried about what people think. That's what humans are like. And so when you're in social media on LinkedIn, on a business professional context, it's just like people are so worried about their career, right? It's very difficult to get into the practice of being yourself in business. When I started my career in business, I was like 21 or something. I remember going to meetings younger than that when I started companies, like 19, and meeting with people that are twice your age, right? So I'd always have a suit on, like a little bit look like an idiot, like a cheap suit, way too much hair gel. And I was overdressing for like till I was maybe 28, 29. I was always like overdressed because I was trying to compensate for the fact that I felt like I shouldn't have been there. Shouldn't have been in the room, right? And so it's this confidence. You've got to practice it. So I made a deal with myself. I said to myself, if I want to be a professional speaker, public speaker, then what I'm going to do is speak as many times as I can. So I get the repetition and the practice, right? So that means no matter what's going on in my life, if I get the opportunity to speak, I do it, right? And there are times when I've been on stage when there's no audience. There's times when I've been on stage when I've had no sleep, been on the plane all night, but I always do it because if people see your face, you're more familiar, right? And they're more likely to trust you. It's like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, all things being equal. If you see 5 billboards of Coca-Cola while you're driving down the freeway and you don't, all things being equal, that you're more likely to buy Coca-Cola, even if you just saw the logo, because it's more familiar to you. That's why companies spend billions of dollars just even putting their products in films so that people can see them and get more familiar with them. What they should be doing, by the way, is putting those products on YouTube and LinkedIn, right? So that's actually where the attention is. Okay. All right. Embarrassment leads, 100%. And by the way, I was thinking about this 10 minutes before I came on. It's like, how long have I been doing this, going live every week? How long have I been posting videos? I must have done 5,000 at least, maybe 10,000. And I was thinking, well, it's funny how I still get a bit nervous before I come on, right? I literally went through this conversation with myself where I was like, I don't know who's going to be, what do I say? Blah, blah, blah. I'm just having this conversation with myself. And then again, I'm like, snap out of it. Let's go. This is what we do. And you're going to have to do the same thing. The more you do it, those conversations become shorter and shorter. The second form of content that I want you to pay attention to is what we're doing right now. Doesn't have to be live, but LinkedIn events. LinkedIn events. People will tell you all sorts of fluff as to why, events are powerful. The real value that you need to pay attention to is you can invite up to 1,000 people per week in your network to come to the event. So if it's a local event, let's say you're doing a lunch and learn, right, in Melbourne, and you can narrow down all your connections that are in Melbourne. You can even narrow down by the industry. If you want to just invite people that are accountants in Melbourne, for example, and you've got over 1,000 connections in that space. And if you don't, you will do if you follow along with Money and Grow Your Network. I got 30,000 connections, right? That's a limit that you can have, and I've got 40,000 odd followers. And I don't say that number ever in my intro or anything like that because it's completely irrelevant. But the 30,000, what it does do is it enables me to be able to invite 1,000 people per week to events. If I wanted to, I could market an event for 30 weeks and invite everybody in my network, right? And as long as it's relevant, people will come. But if it's targeted, then it's way more powerful. And it's not just you that can invite 1,000 people per week. Okay, let's say you and I decided to collaborate. We do an event together. You invite your audience, I'll invite my audience, and we'll talk about this topic that we both know about. Maybe you'll do a little bit, then I'll do a little bit. So now we've got 2 speakers, right? Now you can invite 1,000 people per week, and I can invite 1,000 people. All right, now it's getting interesting, right? You've got 2,000 people you're inviting per week for free. It doesn't take you long to do it at all. You just scroll down, check all the boxes, and send out the invitations. It comes through to somebody as a connection request. So when they're checking the connection request, they go, oh, Nathaniel's invited you to this event. Sometimes they'll even see it through in their email inbox. It's an awesome way. If you're going to run a webinar, do it on LinkedIn. It's just a no-brainer. If you're going to do a local event, you're way better off putting it on LinkedIn than you are putting it on Eventbrite or Meetup or somewhere where people actually don't hang out. The only way they're going to end up on those sites is generally through Google, right? LinkedIn will end up, you can end up on LinkedIn through Google, easy. Okay, if you want hundreds of eyeballs on your brand every week, go live. And look, it doesn't matter if there's only 10 people there. It doesn't even matter if there's 2 people there. It's a consistency, consistent exposure. If somebody does want to drop in, you're there, okay? And if all it takes is for one person that's considering doing a deal with you, going to that event will make them buy, right? Because you're educating them, you're showing that you're the authority. Now, everyone's like, LinkedIn, carousels, forget carousels. Do you know how long those things take to put together? Jesus. You got to be. I'd love to. That's cool. Don't people bombard with event invites? Well, let me know in the chat. Like, do you get a lot of them? I mean, I only pay attention to the ones that are familiar with me, familiar to me. So just make it stand out. Like, most of them are rubbish. Same thing with everything, right? Like the amount of DMs. Aren't people sick of getting DMs? Yeah, probably. But most of them are rubbish. Like, you can really stand out if you have a good event. Do you know what? Like this. One of the reasons that I'm so confident that this show will be the most popular show on LinkedIn, like I think this show will be the most popular LinkedIn show, in the world, because of one reason. Like the success of something like this is dependent on how much value you can deliver. And I've just seen what else is out there. The only guys that are like preparing for their live stream to give you value are spending 20 minutes at the end trying to sell you something. I never try to sell anything. So I don't see how they're going to compete. I mean, maybe, they might be a bit more charismatic than me, but they're certainly not going to be delivering more value, I don't believe. Okay, so forget carousels, newsletters. Like, I can't believe I'm giving away this. This is the first time I've given away this hack. But like, I've only noticed this in the last week, right? So LinkedIn articles, I've always loved LinkedIn articles. They're longer form pieces of content. And if you write them well, like you get a lot of dwell time because they're longer articles that generally do well up to like 1,500 words. I wrote an article a few years ago that did a lot of research into which articles perform the best. And it's called Why Nobody Likes Your LinkedIn Post, I believe. And I did a PDF that goes along with it about the ultimate guide to writing LinkedIn articles. So if you want that, just write articles into the chat and I'll make sure you get it. Side note, I digress. But now they call them newsletters, right? So articles are now called newsletters, and they call it that because you can subscribe to a newsletter, and everyone's creating them, as you know, right? Everyone creates them. Not many people are consistent with them. It's like, well, what kind of newsletter do you put together? Because I was thinking, it's got to be the same as the long form articles. So it's just long form articles, but in a newsletter. Not exactly, right? They don't have to be long. And what I've noticed is about 2 months ago, I was looking at the analytics of one of my articles because it's like, I get a lot of DMs from these articles. Like sometimes it's not as many views as some of the shorter videos, but I get a lot of private messages, loads of private messages. I read your article. I'm like, where are these people coming from? Because the views and the number of DMs, they don't correlate. Anyway, so when I look in the analytics, I see an open rate. There's an open rate there, and it's like 28%. I'm like, what do you mean an open rate? Anyway, it turns out that if somebody subscribes to your newsletter, LinkedIn actually email them with it shows up in their inbox. I've got my notifications turned off, so I don't see it. And they're getting 28%, between 25 to 30% open rate, which is like, it's the same as what most people get in their email marketing system. When I shouldn't say most people, that's like kind of what I get most of the time, 25 to 30%. If I'm sending out to like 10,000 people, that's what I'll get. So it's a pretty good open rate, right? They're sending that out and it's coming from LinkedIn. So it actually positions you as an authority because it kind of looks like it's coming like, hey, this is like the content that you need to see today from LinkedIn. I think it's a huge opportunity. I don't think they necessarily need to be that long because if they're showing up in someone's email inbox, you want to keep them short, right? Because you want people to watch. It's actually a great way for you to promote your lives in your videos because you can have a link in there. Link in the article won't hurt your reach like it will in a short form post. It's something that I'm really excited about at the moment, but it's very, very recent. Okay, we've got Angie in the house. There's so many familiar faces. Awesome. Yeah, I'll get that document to you. What part do numbers play in audience engagement? Very little. Like the only place that numbers have is social proof. Like they've done this research where when people land on a profile, they did it on Instagram, but it's going to be the same anywhere else. The first place people look is your number of followers. So like it's hard when you start out, but like I don't think you don't have to have tens of thousands of followers to look credible. It's only a concern if you've got like 200. Like as long as you got 500 plus, you're going to look credible. It doesn't matter at all. Like Yasmin Alec has 320,000 followers or something. It doesn't matter how many followers you are, it's who you can reach. Sometimes he will get like really high engagement, like 2,500 comments, and it's literally like 8,000 views. Like, what the hell? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, and by the way, they're not always accurate either, but it doesn't seem to have any bearing on the number of views. Don't really matter that much. Like on YouTube, you'll get paid by the number of views. So that, like, obviously that's what people are looking at. But on LinkedIn, it doesn't really matter. Engagement's a way better indication of how much time people have spent. What they should have is a metric for dwell time. If they had a metric for dwell time, that's what they would use. Because on YouTube, yes, it's number of views, that's how you get paid. But how you get ranked in the search results on YouTube is by how long people watch your videos for. how long they watch the content for, average viewer duration, same thing, dwell time, right? So that's why the best creators, they're leaning into this stuff. Like they're owning their audience and owning their algorithm, right? They're building a relationship with them. So newsletters on LinkedIn are like a distribution machine. Like, that's something that social media doesn't normally do. So, they don't just sit on your profile, they go directly into your subscribers' inbox, right? So that's an intimate place to be, intimacy of email, right? And so the best creators in the world are going to start doing newsletters. Like you're going to start to see that a lot more. LinkedIn are very smart with what they're doing there. They're not so smart in other areas. Okay, and is that Ned that's going to a sales meeting? Mate, go close that deal for us. We support that at Monday Night Live. You've got a good excuse there, mate. If you can master these 3 short form videos, events, newsletters, you're instantly ahead of 90% of LinkedIn users. I've got to speed up a little bit because I've got a lot of content still to go through here. I wanted to get you out of here before 4:45. Let's see how we go. So 15 minutes for those of you in other time zones. Psychology of shareability. The psychology of shareability. Here's the truth. People don't share content for you. People don't share content. It's not about you. They share it for themselves. When you repost something, you're not sitting there thinking, oh, this is going to help the author. No. You're thinking about what it says about you. That's human nature, right? It's about status. People don't like talking about this at all, but there's a lot of research around it. Think about the last time a celebrity had a baby. I think Justin Bieber, I don't watch the TV, so I don't actually know, but I would hear about these things. I think Justin Bieber had a baby. Maybe that's old news, I don't know. But think about the last time a celebrity had a baby or get married or split up. Or, Kylie Jenner's announcing that she's pregnant or whatever. Oh, Australia's in the World Cup final. That stuff is shared a lot. Why? Because it wasn't because people thought, wow, I need to make sure Kylie Jenner gets more views. It's because sharing it says something about them. It's like social currency. Like I'm the gatekeeper of this information. Like I heard about this cool thing and I'm sharing it. It's about status. It makes them feel connected for a moment and part of the story. And part of a tribe as well. Like if they're a fan, it's not brain science. Sharing content lights up parts of our brain that are linked to identity and belonging. Like this is a tribal, human behavior. We want to signal who we are, what we value, and where we stand. So on LinkedIn, that's why people share content. You've got to remember that. If they do share it, that's why. So there's 3 triggers: identity. So the content will scream at them. This is me. You couldn't believe that you worded that exactly how I feel. That's what I stand for, right? The second trigger is status. Sharing it will make them look smart, insightful, ahead of the curve. It's no accident that a lot of these guys that are talking about like real estate and wealth and that in all their thumbnails, you see them, standing next to a Ferrari. They know exactly what they're doing there. And I spoke to Grant Cardone about this, and I was like, what's with the private jet? You're always posting about it, man. You look like a bit of a dickhead. I said, people would think you look like a bit of a dickhead. He's like, other people or you, man? I was like, you got me. He's like, listen, like this, especially on YouTube, like it's mainly a younger audience, right? He said, if that's what they think being financially successful looks like, I'm going to meet them at their level, right? Show that in the thumbnail. But once I get their attention, then I'm actually going to teach them a thing or two, right? So being aware of it doesn't mean that you're like necessarily buying into behavior, but it means you're actually trying to help and you give a shit. Connection. So if you strike an emotional chord, this is the one I love the most, then they're likely to tag a colleague. It's like emotional chord, like people are going to do something with that emotion. Most of the time they're going to share it. So they take a colleague or a mate or a team or a partner. They want someone else to share the feeling with. Here's the kicker. In 2025, smart marketers don't even chase virality anymore. They don't care how many people view one piece of content. They care about getting the right people to see their content consistently. Hootsuite's research shows going viral is not the game. Consistency is. Hootsuite have said this in their 2025 social media report. Going viral is not the game. Consistency is. Virality is a sugar rush. Consistency is compound interest. Can you name anybody that went viral in 2020? Like they're not around anymore, 2021. Like they were thought they nailed social media for like 6 months. But everyone forgets. That's like you've got to be the people that stay consistent. They build real relationships with their audience. So here's the choice: do you want to be the one-hit wonder that got a spike of attention and it feels good for a little bit, or do you want to be the consistent authority that people can't wait to get content from? They're expecting to hear from you. They want to hear from you every week or every day at the same time. You're not interrupting people. You've got permission to talk to them. That's what you want. Some bonus content, right? So I'm going to talk to you about how I built a system that brought in 10 million views last year. It was more than 10 million, but it's interesting. Like a lot of that was about 3 or 4 million was just a few viral posts. That's the way it always works, right? Doesn't matter if it's 10 million or 1 million or 100,000, right? The point is I've got a system and I stay consistent and I spend $0 on ads. And I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. Like, it'd be good to be able to amplify the best pieces of content, but I've not done that because I've got a capacity. I'm not going to go into all that. It's probably not that interesting to you, but I run a business where it all revolves around me. I've got support workers, people that deliver a lot of the campaigns that I put the strategy together for, but I don't let anyone else speak to clients. I speak to them directly. That's how I run my business. And we've got a capacity, so I don't run ads at all. If I did, I'd be sponsoring the posts that perform the best. Okay. So how did I pull 10 million views? Was that because I've got the best hooks? No. Was it because I found an awesome video editing team that didn't cost a fortune? Who, by the way, if you want an editing team, let me know. I'll introduce you to these guys. They're awesome. Just DM me. No, but that's not the reason. Was it getting the biggest influencer on my show, Yasmin Alec? Well, that was this year. So the answer is no. Was it because I'm so charismatic? My mum might think so, but no. The reason most of you don't fucking show up as who you really are is because you're worried about what other people think. But listen to me. You cannot fit in and stand out at the same time. You cannot fit in and stand out at the same time. Be different. And when I say be different, don't put it on. Be yourself. Don't be afraid to be you. That's what makes you awesome. You're awesome, my friends. Lean into being you. Think about it. What are Eminem and Michael Jordan and Jim Carrey, Elon Musk? What do they all have in common? They're all uniquely themselves. They're not afraid to show it. So stop trying to dress like them or talk like them or write posts like them. Stop trying to be like them. Stop trying to copy them. Stop trying to talk how they talk. Stop trying to write like Yasmin Alec. What makes you unique? That's the question, because you're already awesome. The best version of you is the real version of you. So stop hiding it, start showing it. This is really, you can see I'm getting worked up, but that's how you build a personal brand. That's how you build an audience. That's how you win. I'm getting fired up, guys. Your mission for this week, pick one of those 3 formats, right? And drop a post before next Monday. Make sure you tag me so I can cheer you on, right? I'm going to check it out. Okay. And, we're going to be back here every week for the rest of the year. And I'll tell you one thing, if you make a commitment to be at Monday Night Live every week, it's like 40 minutes out of your week. By the end of the year, you'll have a completely different business. You won't be able to recognize it because so few people take the time to understand LinkedIn effectively. And the ones that do are absolutely crushing it because it's so targeted. You can go straight for your target audience and build a great relationship with them without being salesy. So look, if you want to take any of this further, grab a copy of my new course, LinkedIn Video Secrets. It's over on bibimediagroup.com. You'll be able to find it under programs, LinkedIn Video Secrets. Put a lot of hours into that. It's a fantastic course that's going to be relevant for about 6 months, but it's just been released, so go check that out. It's packed with frameworks that I don't have time to cover in Monday Night Live. So go to bibimediagroup.com or DM me. If you want to hire me as a one-on-one coach, go to nathanielbibby.com. Some details on that over there. And don't forget, you can also download a lot of my free downloads, like 100 scroll-stopping LinkedIn hooks. 100 scroll-stopping LinkedIn hooks is my most recent one. So if you're doing videos or writing captions and you want some hooks for your content, drop the word hooks into the comments. I'll make sure you get that as well. I'll go through these comments. I reply to everyone, and I'll make sure you get either the articles PDF or the 100 scroll-stopping LinkedIn hooks. It's like a vault that you can use for years to come to write your hooks that grab people's attention, both in video and in written format. Your biggest learning from tonight into the chat, I'd love to read them later, get some feedback. And that's it. Daniel Bibby, you've been watching Monday Night Live. We're on a mission to become the biggest weekly show on LinkedIn by delivering more value than anyone else. Now go crush it. Until next week, my friends, stay legendary. Thanks for being here.